WrestleMania 41 predictions. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling,
The granddaddy of them all. The whole kit and caboodle, the big shebang, whatever you want to call it, right? This is Mania time. This is the big one.
Yeah, I cannot wait. And speaking of Mania, I just want to plug it real quick. We do live streams for Raw, SmackDown, and WrestleMania, but we will be doing a big one for WrestleMania. We'll be doing a belt raffle. Where you guys have the opportunity to win this here championship, a replica undisputed championship belt. It'll be a raffle. So stop by the live stream, youtube.com/@CODWrestlePod, and try to win this belt because it'll be a fun time. But let's get into it. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, everybody knows him if you're in the IWC. He was nice enough to label out what night 1 and night 2 are going to look like for us. So we're going to go by night 1 and night 2 and predict our way through this WrestleMania card.
I like that.
Here we go.
I like it divvied up like that.
Woo! Night 1, as reported by Sean Ross Sapp. World Heavyweight Championship match. Will Yeet Mania happen? Gunther versus Jey Uso. Who do you got?
Yeah, I gotta go Jey Uso. We've been saying for, I guess, ever since the Rumble, really, that this was probably going to open because you look at the breakdown of everything and you're like, well, I don't really see this main eventing. Well, what better way to bookend it on the front end with yeeting right away, right off the bat. You also look at the second match here that follows up. That match you're not really as excited for. So you're like, you're getting that big moment. You're getting the yeeting. It might be 10 minutes of yeeting. I mean, it might be a long time, but you got to go Jey Uso on this one.
Yeah. If they start the card and we get Yeet Mania, to me, that's the perfect start to WrestleMania 41. That's exactly how you want to start this thing off. I've been a big proponent of Gunther as champion. I've been big on him. And up until a few weeks ago, I even thought Gunther should probably win this thing. I didn't really like the work Jey was doing. Recently, over the past 2 or 3 weeks, they've really changed my opinion on that. Jey Uso has been doing phenomenal work, and they've also established Gunther as like the ultimate big baddie that just needs to be beat at the biggest show, right? So I think Jey Uso needs to win this one, and we need to go yeeting all the way for Yeet Mania. Yeet.
Yeah, and WrestleMania is all about those moments, right? And I mean, it feels like a waste if Jey wins the Rumble and you have this build up and the yeeting kind of organically over the last year or so, and then it's just like, oh. He just falls flat on his face. Can't do that.
You know they already got pounds, tons and tons of Yeet merch already made. Yeet belts, all the whole nine. So it's happening. Second match listed on night 1. Raw tag team titles have made the card. SmackDown tag titles did not. That is a damn shame. Don't know how that ended up happening. But we do have War Raiders taking on New Day for the tag titles. Who do you got?
Yeah, this is the most throwaway match on the card, I'd say. I'm going with New Day on this one just for the sense of like, well, the War Raiders haven't really done anything with the tag titles. They really are barely even on screen at this point. Why not just have them switch?
Yeah, I don't care about this match. I really don't.
Could I care either way? I don't really care.
I don't care. I was looking forward to our shenanigan-filled 6-man or 6-team tag team title ladder match SmackDown that all of us were hoping and praying for, and that the storyline that's as convoluted as it is on SmackDown looked like it was leading all paths toward, but instead we get this random War Raiders New Day match. Give it to the New Day. They had a heel turn. They've been winning in heel styles for the past few months. If you're going to try to make those belts relevant again, I feel like New Day has to win here, and you just have to do that. You have to push it with people that we know. Give it to New Day here.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like what we talk about almost every Mania at this point with tag titles. Like, well, the people that have the titles going into Mania haven't really done anything with them. Let's try it again. It just seems to be a common theme.
The damn shame. Damn shame. El Grande Americano taking on Rey Mysterio here at WrestleMania. 2 Lucha legends. Who do you see winning this match?
Yeah, 2 Lucha legends indeed. Fastest rising star in WWE history, probably, and El Grande versus Rey. I don't know how Rey really gets on the card there. He just kind of walks his way on there. He hadn't really done anything. Shouldn't really be in the ring with a legend like El Grande. But I'm going to give this one to the deadbeat. I'm going Rey Mysterio on this one. I feel like there's going to be some shenanigans in this one. I feel like El Grande is going to get tripped up. El Grande is going to get costs here. Nothing of his own doing, right? I feel like somebody, some way, somehow, LWO screwing him. Somebody in the crowd, something's happening here. El Grande is going to get screwed out of his rightful place in the winner's circle at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I have Rey Mysterio winning this one as well. It's one of those things where we don't know how many WrestleManias Rey's got, right? He's in that category with Randy Orton and John Cena and them. So you don't know how many more he's got there. And I think that we're going to get the unmasking of a Lucha Legend so that we can finally put to rest the rumors that he's not Chad Gable, because we're going to have Chad Gable and El Grande in the ring, I think. I think it'll be crazy like that. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be shenanigans here that's going to lead to Rey Mysterio ultimately getting the win, maybe a roll up or something like that to end it. It's going to be crazy. LWO is going to get involved. American Made is going to get involved. It's going to be a fun match, but I think Rey Mysterio is winning this one.
Mm-hmm. 3 for 3 so far,
3
huh?
for 3. Where are we gonna
I don't like that.
differ?
I don't like that.
Probably the women's match I'm most personally looking forward to on this WrestleMania card. We got heel Naomi, proceed with caution, taking on Jade Cargill in this heated rivalry. Who do you have winning at WrestleMania?
Yeah, this one's, I mean, you look at the card layout, other than the main event on night one, I guess, like this is one I'm maybe like most intrigued by.
Yeah.
Even like Jay Gunther, I know that's like, I'm intrigued for that one, but this one is done so good and unexpected as well. So this one might be where we differ a little bit. You've got Naomi, who's on a personal hot streak here in terms of her character work. And then you've got the future in the women's division, or at least everybody kind of thought that with Jade, right? I'm going Naomi in this one. I feel like you kind of got to give it to her here. I feel like the work that she's doing, you have to reward that. I feel like Jade's not really going to lose anything, right? It's still Jade in a sense. She talks about her star power and her glow. She's still going to have that at the end of the day. I feel like whether she wins or loses, she doesn't really gain anything or lose anything. I feel like Naomi would be the biggest, I guess, struggle, or like the biggest, I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but she would lose momentum if she just comes out and she loses her first match since being this new found like awesome heel. So I got to go Naomi on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on the fact of it's hard to say, okay, that was worth the heel turn if they lose their first big match after the big heel turn, especially as good of work as Naomi's put on with this new character and, you know, the long build up to the whole story and the turn and all of that happened. It feels like a missed opportunity if Naomi loses here, but I have Jade Cargill winning this one. It's her first singles match at WrestleMania. She is being targeted as one of the big future women in the WWE. You know, the next big thing really is what she is. Storm is coming. I really would like to see Naomi win this one. I really, really would. But if I had to predict it, I think WWE is giving it to Jade Cargill. And I think we roll this on for another month or two. I don't think WrestleMania is going to be the end of this story.
Yeah, well, if we roll it on for another month or two, I just push back and say Naomi can get the first one, and then Jade can get the ones after that.
Well, there you go.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna feel real good when I'm right and you're wrong.
That's not true.
United States title. SmackDown last week ended on Jacob Fatu holding up the title and giving it a good old lick. We got United States Championship action. LA Knight, Jacob Fatu. Who wins it at Mania?
Yeah, as one does, right? We do that to these titles all the time.
That's how we clean these.
Before and after stream. Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt here. I'm going Jacob Fatu. I feel like this one is kind of set in stone, which feels weird because LA Knight did just get the title back, and you're like, man, he had a really good first United States run. Kind of makes you think and wonder what's next for LA if he does lose the title. But Jacob Fatu is the star here. Jacob Fatu is the future. I'm really excited to see him versus Solo down the line and kind of get wrapped up. We were really big fans of that, thinking that was going to go into this Mania. I think they're just going to push that down the road here, and then we'll get Solo versus Jacob maybe for that United States title eventually here. Maybe that's the first feud out of it. I don't know, but it's got to be Jacob Fatu. You can't have Jacob Fatu lose his first Mania match. You talked all about Jade with her first singles match. Let's Jacob Fatu's first Mania match. It's got to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So,
yeah. You didn't just spend the last 4 to 6 months in the WWE pushing Jacob Fatu and making him look like the most unstoppable being in all of sports entertainment just to lose to LA Knight clean at WrestleMania 41, right? And I love LA Knight. I'm so glad that this is LA Knight in this match and not Shinsuke Nakamura. Not throwing any shade to him, but it just wasn't doing it for me. So I'm glad we're getting LA Knight here. I wish Solo would have been tacked on to this match and we could have figured that out, because I honestly don't really want LA Knight taking a pin like that, but It's okay. Jacob Fatu has to win this match. Let's get him with the U.S. title. Like you said, let's roll it into a solo Jacob storyline right away. I don't know what you do with LA Knight after that, but Jacob's got to win this one, man.
Yeah, and LA is kind of one of those guys that he can kind of do almost anything. Like, you can put him into anything, and he's going to make it work because he is just that good on the mic. So
yeah,
that really helps out. But it makes you wonder a little bit. Kind of, LA Knight was at one point arguably like the most over. He was with kind of like that Jey Uso level in terms of on the SmackDown side, and then he got the title, and then he lost the title, and then he's got it back, and then it's like, okay, well, he's gonna lose it again. So it just seems like a missed opportunity there.
Yeah,
but it's Jacob Fatu.
Jacob Fatu. Anyway, we'll move on to the last two matches of night one. 13 overall matches. I probably should have said that. We have 7 on night one, 6 on night two at the moment. I'm guessing a Randy match gets shoved into night 2 at some point. But women's WWE title match. This has been a very controversial feud. It's been pretty personal between the two of them. Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton, who walks away champion.
Yeah, a messy feud, an underwhelming feud. I don't know what other words you want to use to describe it. Terrible, horrible. I mean, it's not been good. As somebody who was a big fan of this before it happened over the last year, and it finally happens, I'm like, cool, we get this. And it's just missed on everything.
Yeah.
I've kind of found myself going back and forth a little bit on this one. Like, well, it is Charlotte. You could just give the title to her, and she could kind of it's just like a reset. Maybe Tiffany's not ready, at least early on in the feud. It seemed like maybe Tiffany's not ready for the bright lights. But as we've gotten closer to Mania, I'm going with Tiffany still. I'm still picking Tiffy time. I just think that, like, yeah, these two didn't work. The chemistry wasn't there like we maybe thought it was. Let's just continue to give Tiffany a chance, have her go forward, have her face somebody else after this. I don't really care who it is. You can separate the two. Feud didn't work. We wash our hands at the end of the day and just start all over with the Tiffany reign, basically.
If Charlotte wins, the jokes are going to pile on about Charlotte just getting to walk in and put herself over again. Tiffany needs to win this one. The feud's been bad. I don't need to reiterate that. I really have not liked it. But I think you take a monumental step back if you just drop it to Charlotte here after how bad the feud's been. Because it's like, not only could you not pull the feud off, you're also just going to go back into your old ways as well and give the belt back to Charlotte. Ugh, that just feels bad. We saw Tiffany Stratton take on Roxanne Perez last week on SmackDown. That's what the future needs to look like. The future needs to look like Tiffany with the title, taking on new up-and-coming talent and having just new feuds and all that good stuff happen on SmackDown and just give us some life in the women's division on that show. So Tiffany Stratton should absolutely walk out of here champion. I think the match is going to be great, but let's get it done. It's Tiffy time to end that feud, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's been rough. And I think maybe the biggest thing for Tiffany that we learned out of this is to don't make her the overwhelming babyface. We see so many people that are good at tweeners or playing down the middle or being themselves. I think we learned here that Tiffany needs to do that more. And I think that would really kind of help not only her, but whoever she's against in the future.
Completely agree. It's Tiffy time. Main event of night one, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, with Paul Heyman being in the middle of everything. Who do we got walking out of WrestleMania as the winner?
Yeah, this is really tough. This is really tough. I would say there's one person I know that's not winning, and it's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is not winning this match. So now you got two options here. You got CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. You sit there and you think about it, and you're like, man, this is Punk's first Mania main event. Like, he's done such good work over the last year since returning. Well, how could he lose this match? I'm picking Seth Rollins, though. I'm going Seth Rollins with this one. I think eventually the story is, at the end of the day, Punk versus Roman and the Paul stuff. I think that's the feud that probably comes out of the triple threat here. And Seth, you can kind of push him towards another title opportunity. That's fine. We talk about Seth over really the past year and a half. He's really been like the MVP at the end of the day, at the end of the core feuds of things. And he really hasn't gotten his chance to kind of shine again or be on that Seth Rollins level. So I think it's kind of time to do that. And then, like I said, the Punk Roman stuff with Paul, that's really kind of what I'm intrigued about out of this triple threat going forward. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going with Seth Rollins. I'm not particularly confident in it, but that's what I'm going with.
This one's tough. When I was making my prediction on it, I was looking at it like, what's the foundation of this feud? I still think the foundation of the feud is what they've begun with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. I do think that that is still what the basis of this thing is. And I think that those two deserve to settle their beef at their own WrestleMania event, one-on-one later down the line. I still firmly believe that. And then we have Paul Heyman in there with everybody and all that good stuff, which obviously is the reason now that Roman Reigns hates CM Punk. So you get the triangle of hate going on there. But to me, I think the logical thing to do here is have CM Punk win it and walk away with Paul Heyman. I don't foresee some sort of Paul Heyman turn to go with Seth Rollins. I think you have CM Punk and Paul Heyman go into a feud with John Cena, hopefully later down the line if John Cena gets the title. I think that that would be a spectacular feud there. And then you can save the final nail in the coffin when it comes to Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for something down the line at their own WrestleMania, at their own SummerSlam, a good final thing there. So I think CM Punk should be the one to walk away with this one.
Yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and disagree with that. Like I said, I think there's two clear choices here.
Yeah.
I think the only wrong choice is Roman.
Yep.
And even if Rollins or Punk, like either way, okay. Like I'm happy with either choice. So
yeah, I mean, if Seth Rollins wins and they do some crazy turn with Paul, I mean, that's going to be spectacular, right? Like I'm going to love every second of it. I just don't think that I'm necessarily interested in a long-term booking of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman together, because I think Rollins stands on his own on a mic, which you can say that about all these guys, but like it makes the least amount of sense for Paul to be with Seth, like historically, and he's good on a mic. So it doesn't feel like that's a good connection.
I guess my thing is, and the reason why I'm picking Seth is I don't think Seth and Paul come out of this together anyway, whether it's win or loss. Yeah. I think the more interesting thing right away, at least, is the Paul Punk Roman triangle there. Yeah. I think maybe that's what we get, and Seth just ends up being like a byproduct of it. Like, oh, I just happen to kind of fall into this win.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I have that. And then, like you said, the Roman Rollins stuff, I would book that for next year's Mania. So you got tons of time for that. So, but we'll see. This is deservedly the night one main event.
Yeah, I just don't want Roman or Seth to stand over the other at WrestleMania yet until it's a solo thing.
Right.
Let's move it on to night 2 of WrestleMania. This card looks stacked on night 2 too. I mean, the card overall looks really good. We're going to start it though. Logan Paul, AJ Styles, WrestleMania. Who do we got winning this one?
Yeah, I guess Logan's getting in and getting out. First on the card, first out of the first out of the building here. Yeah, I really could not care any less about this. I mean, it's going to be a great match. It's going to be phenomenal, as one might say. I guess I'm going AJ Styles with this one. That's kind of like a personal pick. I don't really see any reason of which Logan Paul really needs to win. We talk a little bit about Ray with I don't know how many more Manias he has left. I don't know how many more AJ has left. So it'd be nice to kind of get AJ some credibility again, get him some wins stacked up again. Maybe he goes on like a little mid-card hunt at one point, some way, somehow. So I'm all good with that. So just give me AJ Styles here. I feel like the internet and the wrestling community would explode if Logan Paul beats AJ Styles. So that's why I'm going AJ Styles.
You're right. The internet and wrestling community will explode when AJ Styles loses to Logan Paul at WrestleMania, and he will. I'm not saying that I like that decision, but I'm saying that I think that WWE does have some big-time long-term plans for Logan Paul in terms of maybe even one day giving him a championship. People hate that idea, but he's got a ton of eyes on him, and what does WWE want? More eyes on their product. So I think Logan Paul has a big-time place in the future of this company, and they're going to give him a win at WrestleMania over AJ Styles. Now, does Karrion Kross get involved with that? Maybe, and there's some shenanigans there that leads to it to make it to where it doesn't feel as bad and make it not clean? Maybe, but I do think Logan Paul walks away with this one.
Yeah, and you might be right, but damn it, I hate that.
Yep, me too. I'm not saying I like it.
No, that's what it's exactly what he said.
Another match that I'm really, really, really looking forward to. Intercontinental title match. Braun Breaker taking on Penta, taking on Finn, taking on Dirty Dom Mysterio. Who's walking out of Mania the IC champ?
Well, I kind of went with the heart on the last one, right? Like AJ fan, not really the Logan Paul supporter, right? So I'm going with the heart. You got to go with the heart on this one too. You got to pick Dirty Dom. It's Dom's time. I think Dom has kind of showcased how good he is. Just the ability to be such an over heel, and then he's slowly gotten the fans on his side to where the fans are cheering him now. You get little hints about him being the IC champion, him picking up the belt and looking at it. Like, that's really good stuff. Him and Liv both having titles at the same time, I think would be really cool. Really interesting dynamic. Plus, we've been saying titles and tendies for a long time here. If it doesn't happen here, I don't know when it's going to happen. Those tendies might go stale. So I'm picking Dom here.
It's gotta be Dirty Dom. It's gotta be Dirty Dom. It's the right choice. It's the easy choice because you can have the moment happen. Finn crosses some sort of line during the match. Dom does the full face turn. He gets the cheer from the crowd. He pins Finn Balor, becomes IC champ. Braun doesn't take a pin here. He looks just fine. Penta doesn't take a pin here. He looks just fine. Shoot Braun into the World Heavyweight Championship scene after Jey Uso wins it. Have Dirty Dom and Finn go into a rivalry together right after WrestleMania. It's the easy answer. It's the right answer. Dirty Dom, titles, and tendies at WrestleMania.
Yeah, kind of has to be. I guess now we can do the Randy match.
Yeah, let's throw it in there. It's not official yet. We don't have anything, but Randy's winning whatever match he has.
Yep. Versus whoever. I don't know if it's going to be Nick. I don't know if it's going to be Solo. It's probably, I would say, more Solo. We're hoping for Nick, obviously. But Randy's winning whatever match he has.
Yeah, Randy versus Field. Randy.
Uh-huh.
Okay, there's our conversation there. Match announced last night on SmackDown. We get the Sin City Street Fight. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. Hopefully, they take this match out onto the Vegas Strip in the street. We get good stuff here. Who's walking out of Mania?
Yeah, I really hope it's just like an overbooked, over-the-top street fight. That's really what we need here. I'm going Drew McIntyre on this one. I feel like Drew McIntyre has put in the work over the last year. He talks about how many times he gets screwed over. I don't know how many more times you could continue with the I've been screwed over with. So I think right here he gets the win over Damian, and kind of deservedly so. Drew's been doing some of the best work of his career. It would be really nice to have Drew finally kind of get a win and go towards a title of some sort here. So I'm going Drew on this one. Damian, I'm a little bit concerned about because I feel like his stock at least has dropped a little bit from when he had that title. He's kind of just been hanging out, hanging around sort of thing. So I'll be interested to see kind of where they go with him after this, but I think he'll be okay still.
Yeah, I think you can only do so many good personal Drew feuds with him losing before you start to beat that dead horse a little bit too much. I think Drew McIntyre needs to win here. You need to establish him as a guy who is a big time heel, who tells the big time truth, who can make the hard decisions and do the heel damage thing, but also get the win. You need to establish that. And he needs to be a big time heel on SmackDown coming out of WrestleMania. He needs to be around whatever title scene they can get him around. He needs to have a bigger plan for going into 42. So if we're already looking down the line there, Drew McIntyre needs to win here, reestablish him as a top threat in the WWE. What you do with Damian, I don't know. I like Damian. Put him into the IC title scene maybe, or US title scene eventually down the line. I'm not sure. It's a tough situation, and that's why we're in this match to begin with, because they're both in the clouded area. But I more personally want to see a big time future for Drew over Damian. So I'm picking Drew. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the draft could always shake things up, which would be weird to get him drafted when they just put him in the transfer portal, but it could happen. You never know. And SummerSlam being 2 nights down the road here, you're going to have something big here. So that's going to feel like a Mania level, in my opinion, as well. I would love to see Drew in something prominent there. Damian, I could really take it or leave it at that point. Yeah. But give me something with Drew that's really solid, especially on the SmackDown side where you had him and Kevin Owens being some really, really good truth-telling heels. And now that KO's out, Drew's got to kind of fill both of those roles, and I think he can. Yeah,
Drew reinvented the heel this year. He really did. He reinvented the way heels do things, and every heel since then is kind of fallen into place, right? Now they all tell truth while also being bad. It's a really interesting thing for heels to do now. Reward the man. Give him some stock. Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's move into the final 3 matches. 3 matches that I think are going to be phenomenal. We have a match for Liv. She made the card. It's Liv and Raquel taking on Lyra Valkyria and Bayley at WrestleMania for the tag team championships. Who do you got?
Well, you kind of gave it away there. We finally get a match for Liv here. We didn't really have one until 8 days before Mania. I guess 9 days before her match, right? You look at it, I just said Dom having a title and Liv having a title would be really awesome together. I feel like that's the route you gotta go here. So I'm going Liv and Raquel. I think you get Lyra and Bayley to have some sort of miscommunication, some issues there to where that's your IC title feud, which is going to be fantastic as well. But let's kind of focus on the tag titles for the women this year. There's a lot of women talent that's really good, a lot of women tag teams that are phenomenal. let's not have this same issue where they're just kind of hanging out. Like once they win them, once they defend them, like, okay, cool. We're not really going to see them on TV again for a while. Let's not do that. Let's make sure we put an emphasis on it and maybe call up some of those NXT tag teams, something like that. Liv deserves a bigger push, I would say. Again, she's kind of been hanging out, kind of like Damian Priest in a sense. So give me Liv and Raquel, and then give me just the double title celebration. I'm here for it.
This has to be Liv and Raquel. I love the short time that we've gotten with Lyra and Bayley, and AKA their one gauntlet match. I think they look spectacular, and that is an interesting tag team for down the line if they wanted to do that. But I do think at WrestleMania, we get some sort of fallout between Bayley and Lyra so that we can push that as being the big time intercontinental feud post WrestleMania, which would be great because they've already proven they can do phenomenal matches. But you can't have Liv and Raquel, who are an established multi-time champion tag team, lose a big time WrestleMania match to a brand new up and coming tag team out of nowhere. That doesn't make any sense. Liv deserves to be winning on this type of stage anyway. She deserves to have a better feud as is. I have Liv and Raquel winning this one. I have the match being great, but let's keep the belt on Liv.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, though, we get our last two. Woo! The big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Women's World Heavyweight Championship triple threat. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. Who should walk out of WrestleMania the champion?
Same way that the main event of night one with the triple threat, I said there's one person here that I don't think is winning this one. I don't think Rhea Ripley is winning this one. So now you've got another shot here. You got another 50-50 shot, basically, in my opinion. I think the better story would be Bianca to win it with the whole Jade Naomi stuff, but then also like they're on SmackDown. If Bianca wins this, she's on Raw, right? So that doesn't really line up, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense there. I'm going Io Sky on this one. I know she's kind of been overlooked and that's kind of been overshadowed, the storyline for her. I would like to see something for her to kind of show that she belongs here. They've done a really good job about Rhea Bianca. I think that's going to be next year at Mania some way, somehow. But I'm going Io on this one. I need a little bit of a break from Rhea in terms of the title scene. And then you look at the Bianca stuff, like I said, the more interesting stuff for me personally with Bianca would be her with the Naomi Jade stuff. So she would kind of have to go back to SmackDown. So kind of almost by default for me, I'm picking Io.
I think that there are two obvious answers to who should win and who should lose. Rhea should lose based off of this entire story, right? She headbutt her way into the title match. That was a joke made by Bianca throughout it. It didn't end up being a joke. That's ended up being exactly how she got there. And then the obvious winner is Io Sky, because this entire time they've been shoving her away during any sort of argument. She's been overlooked, overshadowed by the other two women in the match. I'm still picking Bianca Belair here. Why? I do think that they do want to establish this Bianca Belair streak. I think that's going to be a thing down the road that we have, the first ever like women's WrestleMania streak. I think they're going to play into that down the road. So Bianca needs to win this in order to keep that streak for one. I also just think that the crowd is starting to boo her a little bit. So if you wanted to, you could give her the belt at WrestleMania here and lean into that tweener role for Bianca Belair. Give her a little bit more attitude, and that could find its path down the road back into the Jade Naomi thing very interestingly, right? Because she will not be all good on Jade or all bad on Naomi. She'll be right in between. So I think that the long-term storytelling of Bianca winning is there. So I think Bianca Belair should win this thing at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I would push back a little bit with the Bianca thing there at the end. It's a really good point you said about the in-between role.
Yeah.
But I would say that, like, you could still do that without the title.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing, though, is the separate shows. Like, and I understand that, well, the draft's coming up, and you can draft, and you can move, and you can switch. I get all that. And WWE, for the most part, kind of just picks and chooses who goes where, when, right? You're like, why are they here? They're on SmackDown, or they're on Raw. But I think over the last like year, especially like with the transfer portal stuff, they really were they did a really good job, in my opinion, of like, these are Raw, these are SmackDown.
Yeah.
So I think maybe you have Bianca lose here. Maybe that streak ending is like a soul searching moment. Maybe that is what kind of pushes her over the edge a little bit. Like you said, the crowd's starting to boo her. So then she can kind of go back. She can be that middle woman in between Jade, in between Bianca. She doesn't really know where to go. The crowd's booing her a little bit. Then you get Bianca moving a little bit towards Naomi's side. I think that'd be really nice.
Here's my thing. I've thought about the drafts a little bit, and I think that if Jay wins, and if Cena wins, if Tiffy wins, if Bianca wins, I think in the draft we get a full swap of champions. I think Cena will go to Raw because obviously you want him on Netflix. I think Jay being on SmackDown would be extremely interesting. I think having Tiffany come to Raw would open up a lot of opportunities with her there. And same thing with Bianca if she goes back to SmackDown. Then all of a sudden you got this Naomi thing lined up for you.
Yeah, yeah, that is kind of the way you save it if that is the case. So
we should see the main events of main events. John Cena's final WrestleMania. He's taking on the champion, Cody American Nightmare Rhodes. Who's going to walk out of WrestleMania 41 as WWE champion?
Yeah, this one kind of pains me to say a little bit. You know, I talk a little bit about no malarkey, no baloney, no shenanigans. I think we're going to get some of that here. I think we're going to get kind of an overbooked main event on both nights. I think both nights are going to be a little bit wonky in terms of finishes. I think you're going to get appearances by other people. You're going to get some cinematic masterpieces, or for those people that don't like the cinema, you're going to be upset maybe. Maybe you're like, well, they just should wrestle. And that, at the end of the day, is that. This one, though, is pretty easy for me. I feel like you got to go John Cena on this one. If you don't have John Cena win, to me, it just kind of invalidates the heel turn. I would really like to see heel Cena as champion for a little bit, have him feud with whoever he wants to, maybe a Randy down the line, maybe at Backlash or something. You do something like that. I think Cody kind of deserves some time off as well. He's been kind of, you can see how tired Cody is just in general. I think it also is a nice subtle note about, like, Punk talked about it and Cena talked about it, like the day in, day out stuff about being the champion and all the media and all the house shows and the early calls and all this stuff. You can kind of see it getting to Cody a little bit. I don't think that that's for nothing. But I think it's time Cody drops the title, gets it to John. I think there's going to be obviously some involvement with The Rock. Maybe there's some Stone Cold stuff that people have kind of hinted at a little bit. And then you just get heel Cena maybe running into SummerSlam, I would say. And then maybe you get the face Cena towards the back half of the year. Yeah.
I mean, if Cody Rhodes were to beat John Cena here, what's the fun in the story, right? The heel turn would be negated. The fun storytelling after WrestleMania would be going away, because if John Cena can turn heel and not beat Cody Rhodes, then, like, who am I supposed to believe is going to take the belt off Cody Rhodes anytime in the future? So that would kind of suck. But this is the final WrestleMania for John Cena. It's the heel turn. It's just got too many good stuff involved, too much good stuff that we want to see. And like I've said before, it's like if heel Cena walks away champion at Mania, we then get heel Cena versus face Orton, heel Cena versus face Punk. You know, you get all these dream scenarios right away from that I just, like, I need that. I need that in my wrestling fan veins, right? So John Cena needs to win this championship. We're going to start Mania on a good note with Jey Uso winning, and we're going to end WrestleMania on the ultimate heel, John Cena, winning the belt and taking it from Cody Rhodes.
Pretty selfish of John to not go out on his back for the last Mania.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
What do we get? What do we get? John should go out on his back.
Just saying.
Anyway, those were our predictions. What do we have? We had
I think we had
two
or three.
I think three. Three different opinions on matches. So
yeah, Naomi, Jade, Logan, AJ, and the women's triple threat.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, and Seth.
Yeah.
So four.
Mm-hmm. A lot of different picks here. We'll see who wins it. But anyway, speaking of who wins it, not only are we going to do our live stream, which I'll get to in a minute, we also, in the Discord, if you want to join our Discord, we're going to have predictions up for everybody to join. So it'd be very fun if you have a Discord to come join our Discord. It's in our bio in our link tree. And post your predictions in there, and we'll keep up and see who kind of wins it, who takes the cake for WrestleMania. And then, of course, we are going to do our live stream for WrestleMania, which will include a belt raffle for this here undisputed replica title, youtube.com/@CodWrestlePod. And then, of course, we have a Raw and SmackDown before WrestleMania next week. We'll be live streaming that as well if you want to stop by and talk to us. For everything else, @CodWrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Again, Linktree has everything there. All of our socials. Go follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But I'm Will. That's Brandon with the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.